Hello, welcome to How to Play Like a WoW Pro, episode number 30. Today we're going to be taking a look at Tundra from the North spawn in medium tanks and heavy tanks. So I've got one replay first in the CS63, and then I've got a second replay submitted by Magnan, who's a really good player, and a Chieftain from the North spawn, and I'll show you how to play with both mediums and heavies, or at least how I prefer to play. So I didn't have an HP loadout this time, so I just picked my turbo loadout. I feel like you usually need to pick turbo in the CS because of the poor reverse speed, but I would have preferred HP in this situation, but I don't have HP loadout. So in medium tanks, what I like to do is go to this ridge here in the beginning, right to this location here, and just shoot people on the cross. Now, why do I not like to go hill on this map? In both mediums and heavies, I don't like to go hill because it's extremely risky to try to take it. And then if the enemy takes it, then you're basically just stuck down here, and then it's hard to get out because they have these locations up here. You can probably get out like this, but you might bleed doing so, and it will just take time that you could have been doing something else. And if you go to the base of the hill and you don't commit up, then you're basically going to get one, maybe two shots, which you could have easily just gotten by shooting the cross instead. So that's why I prefer to just shoot the cross in the beginning. Now, if you want to win the game, taking hill is probably your best option, but it's risky, so I choose not to do it for damage reasons. I think I'm lagging a little bit, so sorry about that. But there, as you can see, you can get free shots as they cross. And something else to note about this cross is if you wait until after they're behind this bush before firing, you a lot of times won't even get lit. At least you won't get lit from these guys who are crossing if you wait until right here. But I don't bother. I just shoot. Unless there's a reason not to get lit, I don't really see why you would bother. But another reason why I like to take this position in the beginning is because if your team does manage to win the hill without you, then you can commit up over to here and then shoot these guys in the back for free, basically. And that's basically the ideal situation in this map, is if your team wins the hill and then you come here and take this position here. Because now you just have side shots for days. Now, I'm kind of having a problem because this E100 looks like he wants to YOLO me. But I'm assuming I'll survive because he doesn't seem like the best player. And plus I out DPM him and I've got teammates covering me behind me. But I want to kill this E100 and these tanks here as quickly as possible because we're losing our base. So I have to trade here. I can't afford to just sit patiently. And thankfully the E100 bounces me. He's firing AP so he doesn't pen. Now you didn't get to see it a ton in this battle. I just haven't had a battle recently where I've gotten to take this position and then farm people on the side for days. But when it does happen, you can get a lot of damage here. I overexposed a little bit there to the Leo. Now I'm hoping my team will go back to base as well as push through, because if they don't push through, then I'm kind of just going to be stuck here, not being able to do much. And I don't know how this Leo gets a shot on me. That was a weird shot, but he seems like a decent player, to be honest. Now that we've kind of won their base and our base looks pretty secure, it's just a matter of cleanup from here on out. And what I think I should do here is climb over this and get hull down in these rocks here. But I'm waiting for the E4 to die first, I think. Now, if you lose the hill and you're not able to make this play, then what should you do? Well, basically, you have to get your initial shots, but then you have to get out of here because once they take this position here becomes trapped and you can't escape for free. And then after that, you're probably going to lose the game if you lose the hill, especially if you're losing the one line as well, or if it's a stalemate over here. So then I back up, and there's no real good position to play. I just play somewhere back in this area and wait for them to overpoke on this spot here, usually. Or I'll go help out the 1-2 line. But basically, your damage at that point comes from waiting for them to push in and kill the rest of your team. You just need to stay safe from the hill and get as much damage as possible on people driving in. And I have to be honest, this map is not very good for medium tanks for doing damage. It just isn't. So that's why you have to play passive, and you have to get your damage at the end game or at the, well, at like your very initial, and then at the very end of the game. There's not much you can really do in between if you don't have armor. And a funny fact is, even though me and Magnan played our games at very different times, like probably a week or more apart, Magnan actually got into my game and he's on the enemy team in the Chieftain. So that's kind of funny because I'm highlighting his replay. But as you can see, this really wasn't that great of a game. Like, you only have like 4,000, and I somehow got 2,200 spotting, probably on the E4 or something. Yeah. Which is really strange for Tundra. You usually don't get any spotting at all. But not a bad game, especially for this map. This map in general, like I said, is just not very good for medium tanks at all. If you're in something like a CS63 or something very fast, you can go to the hill and you can try to take it. I'm just telling you right now, especially from this side, it's very risky because the other side has a better side for winning the hill. But yeah, let's go on to the next replay where I'll show you how to play with heavy tanks on this map. So I should also mention that I'm gonna leave Magnan's Twitch channel in the description if you want to check it out. So here he is on North Spawn. As you can see on the enemy team, there's a mouse and a Type 5 Heavy, which is extremely good for what he's gonna want to do. He's going to go down the one line, so if you're in a heavy tank, especially one with good turret armor, you can just go down the one line and you'll usually have a decent game. But you have to keep in mind, if you go down the one line, there's a good chance your team will lose the hill. And if you lose the hill, then you're kind of on a timer, because eventually they're going to flank around you. And you're just going to be stuck here and they're going to get behind you and then you're probably going to die. So you have to get out your damage. And that's one of the problems with the one line to me, is you can sometimes just get stuck here doing nothing. And it really depends what the enemy has on their team. So if they had like double Cron Chieftain or something and they didn't have a mouse or Type 5 Heavy, then one line would be very risky. Because you could just be fighting hull down with Crons and Chieftains, and then like I said, you're on a timer. So you have to get out your damage on them, which really sucks because they're hard to damage. And then you could also just get picked. Like if your team sends nothing to the one line, like is happening in this replay, all you have is a K91, they can just come to this corner with fast heavies and then overpoke and kill you if you come to this corner here. So you have to be very careful. If you have no one with you, I wouldn't recommend going to this corner unless you're completely top tier. It'd be better to play back here or even back here. Or just not go to one line altogether, to be honest. But this replay is ideal. Their Type 5 Heavy and their mouse both come one line, and there's no Cron in sight, no Rhinoceronte, nothing. So it's just these two pinatas of HP, which is perfect for Magnan. So I'm also going to show you a little bit about how to pen a mouse when he's angling quite well. So as you can see, when the mouse is angling at like a 30-degree angle, so angled a little bit more than this, you can shoot the side of his mantlet from this side and from the other side. It's better from the other side, the side with the machine gun port, but you can also do it from this side. Which I showed in my weak spot video. If you haven't seen my weak spot videos, I would highly recommend you check them out. So now this Type 5 Heavy is poking out. He wants to stay safe from the mouse while shooting the Type 5 Heavy just to reduce the number of guns that can potentially hit him. But since he has a couple teammates with him now, it's not really a big deal if he gets shot once or twice, because the enemy heavies are probably going to be focusing on his teammates regardless, and that's unfortunate for the 140. It's kind of funny. Or the 140. Is it a 140? Yeah, it is. But he's already up to, he'll be up around 5k damage after this shot, which is pretty ridiculous for 3 minutes in, but you know, that's what happens when you fight against a Type 5 Heavy and a mouse on the one line where you can just play hold down on them. But his team actually managed to win the hill, which is pretty surprising because usually when you don't go hill, that's one less tank that's going hill for your team and one less good player which is contesting the hill. And the enemy good players usually will contest the hill, so you'll usually lose the hill if you don't go hill, if you're a good player. But in this case, his team does manage to win the hill, so you'll see what he does next. You'll actually see it's very similar to what I do, where he takes this area. Let me zoom out. He takes this area here. He can even afford to take this area here because he's cleared this entire flank, so there's nothing that can shoot him in the side. But there's just a bunch of tanks here sitting beneath the hill, which are easily farmable right now because his team has the hill. And that's why if you do win the hill from the north, you're usually going to win the game if you have somebody flanking through this path here. But his team just lost the hill again. They repush, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to farm all the people who would have been playing here. And now he needs to get safe from the hill, because now that they have the hill, he's a pick right where he is. But once you're in this hole, you're safe from the hill, but you are kind of trapped. And that's the problem with taking this position too early. If you take this position too early, so you get your shots early in the beginning, and then you just take this position after your team has won the hill, but your team barely is holding it, if the enemy repushes the hill, then you're kind of just stuck here, and it's not ideal. But Magnan isn't a Chieftain, which plays great hull down, so it should be fine. Unfortunate miss. Right now, we have, ideally this E4 would get picked, but it isn't really exactly clear what he should do now in this situation. It looks like this 183, if he doesn't kill this Leo, he's gonna die, which is a problem, but thankfully he does kill the Leo. If the Leo did kill this 183, then Magnan would probably have to get out, taking this kind of path here. It's just kind of risky because if they poke from this location here, then they can bleed him. But luckily the 183 gets the kill, so. Really, I would probably just play passive in this situation since there isn't anything clear to do. And I would just wait for my team to hopefully make pressure or maybe put on cap pressure. If one of his teammates got on cap right now, that would force them off the hill. But this 183 somehow managed to cross this gap here, which is surprising because the S-Conk from here should have shots on him. But I guess he gets across unlit. And the 183 hits the Leo. And that shot is very important because now that you've won this whole south, that opens up the opportunity to push beneath the hill. Although Magnan is only 700 HP, so I probably wouldn't do that. And here comes the S-Conk. That's why I guess the 183 was able to cross for free, is because the S-Conk wasn't actually playing here. He was coming down from the hill. In this situation, Magnan should die. He really should. He's kind of lucky that the S-Conk doesn't just YOLO him. Because the S-Conk has way more HP, he has better rate of fire. He should just kill Magnan in 2 shots, but the S-Conk is playing kind of scared. So, he gets away with this play here. And the Rhino is over poking, which is giving him free damage as well, which is very nice. He even gets the track there, so he might get another shot if he's lucky. Now he's up to 10,000 damage. The enemies have bled so much from trying to overpoke the hill that now it's possible for him to push beneath the hill because he can take them on if they try to repush around this corner. And now it's pretty clearly going to be a win as long as the grill drives in, because the grill is full HP. But I know that Magnan is hungry for damage because he's at 10,000, right? So he wants to push the tempo, even though the smartest thing to do to win in this situation would be to wait for his team to cap or to wait for the grill to drive in. But he wants the damage, which, you know, is understandable. Did I say 10,000? I meant 11,000. There. He gets 11.5k damage, 1,000 spotting, very good game. A little bit lucky, to be honest, but what 11k game isn't lucky, to be fair. You know, you have to play against something like a mouse or something most of the time to have an 11k game, and that's exactly what happened in this replay, but he played it well, so I still think it's worth showing you, even though there was some luck involved, because it is the right way to play on Tundra. To go one line and trade, usually with hull down tanks. So anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Remember to check out Magnan's Twitch link in the description if you're interested.